And if you're lying to us about one of the biggest secrets in the history of mankind ever, what else are you lying about that isn't
Yes.
as important as that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's probably another factor in the way they have chosen to direct this thing.
And if trust is a currency, the way you buy some of that back is divulging more information. That's just, you have to do that. That's the way it goes. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, because you are a firsthand experiencer, and for anybody who hasn't read your books, I highly recommend they go out there and read about your story because it's one of the most credible stories that are out there. You're a very credible firsthand witness, but someone who is a firsthand experiencer, do you think the public is least prepared to hear the full disclosure happen tomorrow? Because there's a lot of things that and that firsthand experiencers sense about the phenomenon that the general public just does not. Could the general public handle some of those truths?
Not all of them.
Okay.
Honestly, I think that the general public could handle the thought of us not being alone. I think we've been conditioned enough over the last 30 years in mainstream media and commercials and TV shows and everything else that I think that, and I've even myself observed, my grandkids and, they're in their teens and 20s now and they don't have the same reaction to the thought of all this that my generation did.
Mhm.
So I think that they're ready for some,
Mhm. They're primed.
but my personal, and I can only speak for my own experiences and my own perspective, but my personal beliefs in all of this is that there's way more to it than just life on another planet or here or whatever coming, right. It's a lot more complicated than that. And I don't think there are, I don't think everybody is ready for what the truth might be. I think there's even more to it than I myself comprehend and understand because I think part of it, we just aren't wired or
Mhm.
our brains aren't, we can't even conceive of what is actually reality or the truth because we're not
Mhm.
made that way. But I think that for the most part, what, you know, what most people think of as disclosure, I think most people nowadays are ready for it.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that and this is something you're, intimately familiar with. Do you think the abduction material, the abduction content is purposely being left out of this conversation? Like, don't talk about that.
Oh,
Um,
obviously.
right.
Because I think to myself, "Wh who do you think is flying all this stuff up here that you guys think is a threat and think is NHI?
Mhm.
Who do you who do you think is flying that?" I personally think some of it's ours. That
Sure.
you know what I mean? But some of it's not. And who do you think that is? And why do you think we shouldn't know about it if it's right in our face? It's right there, and we need information in order to make correct decisions on things. So, and also, well, the hell, I just had a brain fart. So
That's okay.
never mind. I'm old.
Right. So clearly there's non-human intelligences, and I agree with you. I think they've gleaned derivative technologies off of this stuff. I just don't think you can have some of the highest brain power on the planet and a blank check and throw it at this for 80 years and not glean some sort of derivative technology. I think they've absolutely done some things. And to what extent, I think is up for debate. There's people that go full down that road and they say they've reverse engineered, they've left the solar system, they know where things are and they have a lot more information than just this "we're not alone" narrative. And then there's other people that say, "No way, it's too far advanced. They haven't done anything with it and everything you're seeing in the sky is not human." I agree with you. I think it's a mixed bag and probably most of what we're seeing, I would imagine, is human tech.
And the abduction phenomenon, okay? That is something that nobody can control that. The personal eyewitness can't control that. They certainly can't control that.
Mhm,
And, that's probably the most difficult part for them to try to navigate. Right
mhm,
now, I think they're starting, at point A, and they're gonna work their way up to that.